Okay, we will start today's session. Today we are going to analyze the journal bearing. Two problems we are going to cover. Small problems are there. Let me check the sound. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
The sound is there. Let's go to the presentation. Okay. So normally journal bearing is an assembly of pole element, that is bearing, and shaft element, that is journal. So I have shown tolerance deposition diagram. We are going to see a sum on similar to this in the proceeding session. So let's go to the session now. Okay. Now let's. Today we are going to cover two problems. So the first problem, I am reading the text. So we can note down what are the given things, and then we can proceed how to do the calculation. The following data is given for this is 360 degrees that come down actually. So 360 degree hydrodynamic bearing. Radial load is 10 kilonewton. Journal speed is 1450 rpm. Length to diameter ratio for bearing is 1. Bearing length is 50 mm. Radial clearance is 20 micron. Eccentricity in the bearing is 50. We have to calculate minimum oil film thickness, the coefficient of friction, power lost in friction, viscosity of the lubricant in centipoise, total flow rate of the lubricant in liters per minute, temperature rise of the lubricant. Okay. So this is a statement for the problem. So for this problem, what is given, we are writing here right now. We have been given here radial load W, that is equal to 10 kilonewton. So radial load W is equal to 10 kilonewton. So convert into Newton. So multiply by 1000. So we get that load as 10,000 Newton. Then we have been given the diameter of the bearing here. That diameter of the bearing is given here. The bearing length is 50 mm and L by D ratio is 1. So please always log in with official ID. So those are log in with their personal email ID. They are not allowed to attend the class. Okay. So since L by D ratio is equal to 1, and if the bearing length is 50 mm and L by D ratio is equal to 1, so the diameter of that bearing will be also equal to 50 mm. So diameter is 50 mm. So radius of the journal will be equal to diameter divided by 2. So 50 divided by 2, that is 25 mm. Length of the bearing is already given in the problem, that is 50 mm. Radial clearance is already given, that is 20 micron. So we have to write in millimeter. So divide by 1000. So we get that millimeter value, that is 0.02 millimeter. Then you have given a speed here, journal speed in RPM. We required in calculation in RPS, that is revolutions per second. So journal speed in revolutions per second, that is your RPM speed divided by time. So that is 60 minutes, 60 seconds. So that is coming as 24.167 revolutions per second. Okay. So many times so much data is there. So while writing this in appropriate form and converting into the appropriate unit, students make mistake. So don't make mistake here. Then eccentricity given in the problem is 15 micron. That E value is equal to 15 micron, that is 0.015 mm. Now, so this is the given data, as well as we are given L by D is equal to 1. So eccentricity ratio we have defined in the last session. Epsilon is equal to eccentricity value upon radial clearance. So eccentricity value is 0.015 and radial clearance is 0.02. So eccentricity ratio epsilon is equal to 0.75. Now based on that we can calculate minimum oil film thickness. So there is a relation between eccentricity ratio and minimum oil film thickness. So minimum film thickness variable. Minimum film thickness variable is called as H naught by C, where H naught is the minimum film thickness and C is the radial clearance. That is related as 1 minus epsilon. That is a complementary function to each other, and the summation of these two functions will be equal to 1. So since we know epsilon is equal to 0.75, so H naught by C is equal to 0.25. So this is a minimum film thickness variable equal to 0.25. So from that you can calculate minimum film thickness. So film thickness, so H naught will be C into 0.25 here. So 0.25 into C. So 0.25 into the C value 0.02 mm. So this comes as 0.005 mm. So if this value is very small, so we have to write in micron or micrometer. So we require this minimum film thickness in this problem is 5 microns or 5 micrometers. Okay, so this is regarding minimum film thickness we have determined. Now let's go to the coefficient of friction in the next slide. Okay, so now to determine the coefficient of friction, we need to determine the coefficient of friction variable, CFV, and for that you need to refer a table. So we are referring here table on PHG 7.36. Why we are referring the table on PHG 7.36? Because our problem is of 360 degree, that is full journal bearing. 360 degree means full journal bearing. So if I go to the data there, so what data we require here for this problem, for this CFV here, we have to refer PHG 7.36 and we have to refer L by D ratio parameter equal to 1. And since my epsilon value is 0.75, which may not be table properly, the epsilon values available in the table may be 0.6 and 0.8. So what are the CFV values? So how these values are taken, I will show with the table here. So let's go and see the table here. Okay, so this is a table you can see here. Dimensionless performance parameter for full journal bearing. Full journal bearing means 360 degree bearing with a side slope. So if your L by D is greater than 1, if L by D is greater than 1, QS by Q, QS stands for side flow rate of the lubricant. This value will be 0 everywhere if your L by D is greater than 1. Now since your L by D is equal to 1, we have to refer here. So my in our problem we have L by D equal to 1. So this data we have to refer here, this data. So in this data, we have calculated now your eccentricity ratio. Eccentricity ratio is the second column, epsilon. So our value of eccentricity ratio here is 0.75. So we don't have the range here, 0.75 value here. Okay, just 1 minute. We don't have the value of 0.75 epsilon in this table. So what we have the value is for available epsilon value for 0.6 and their related data in this row, and the value of epsilon equal to 0.8 and the related data for epsilon value equal to 0.8. So what it indicates here, we have to get the data for 0.75 by linear interpolation. Okay, so we are referring now CFV. So CFV column, that is the flow variable column, is here. Now they have used different nomenclature. I am using slightly different nomenclature. Instead of mu, I am using EF there for coefficient of friction, and here they are a capital D upon capital C. So capital D stands for diameter of your journal. Capital C stands here for diametral clearance, and I am using R here, that is radius, and here C, small c here, so that is called radial clearance. So this is equal to 2R, and radial clearance, diametral clearance equal to with the, just one minute. We lost the present. Sir, just wait, my laptop has lost the connection. Wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Let me present. I regain the connection now. Okay. So it has been regained again. So let's start with the, I think you have missed some points. So I'll repeat that points here. We are going to look for 360 degree, that is dimensionless parameters for full journal bearing, that is 360 degree with side flow. For our problem, we have L by D equal to 1. So the data related to L by D equal to 1 is in this row. Then we have epsilon value here, that eccentricity ratio here for in our problem it is 0.75. But the table values are available for 0.6 and 0.8. Now we require data for coefficient of friction variable. So coefficient of friction variable is this column, that is mu into d by c. I am using different notation and PSG has a different notation. Mu will be replaced here by F, capital D will be replaced by here small r, and capital C will be replaced by small c in my this thing. So this is a diametral clearance. I am using radial clearance. So since they are using diametral clearance, so they are taken here capital D. These values will not change. Only notation is going to change here. So values remain same. Okay. So for 0.6, the value of F into R by C is equal to, that is called CFV. CFV value is 3.22. And for 0.8, the value is 1.7. So if we go to the presentation, here, so I have written these values here. L by D equal to 1, epsilon is equal to 0.6. This is taken from PSG 7.36. The CFP value in that column is 3.22. Then similarly for L by D equal to 1 and eccentricity ratio of 0.8, CFP value is 1.7. Now in our problem current situation, we have L by D equal to 1 and eccentricity ratio of 0.75. Then what is the value of CFP? So this value will be calculated by linear interpolation. So to determine this value at eccentricity ratio of 0.75, so I am using this formula here. CFP is at 0.75. So this is the start value, this is the end value. So I am using start value of CFP at 0.6. So this value plus the difference between the start value and end value. So next value minus this value. So next value is CFE at 0.8 minus CFE at 0.6. That is CFE at 0.8 minus CFE at 0.6 divided by, so this is between this range 0.8 to 0.6. So 0.8 minus 0.6. This value, this is separate. This numerator and denominator is multiplied by another bracket here. Where we require value, we require the value at 0.75. Where we have started at 0.6. So difference with respect to that start value of 0.6. So multiplied here bracket 0.75 into minus 6. So this value, if you put this value, what this value? Here you have to put this value, that is 3.22 here, 3.22. Then here 1.7 minus 3.22. So this will come as negative. Okay. This will come as positive. This will come as positive. So this value here, 3.22 minus some fraction in negation. So finally, you will get the value 2.08. Now, whether this value is correct or wrong, how will you come to know? Say at 0.6, this value is higher. At 0.8, this value is lower. And my value is 0.75. So this value should be greater than this value, but less than this value. So you can see here, CFV at 0.75 is greater than 1.7 and less than 3.22. So this is a correct value of 2.08. So please remember how to do the interpolation, because in most of the problems in journal bearing, you have to do the linear interpolation. Okay, so you got this value of 2.08. Then you can use the CFP concept, CFP. So this formula is from PSG. This is the formula from your Bhandari book or whatever I have taught to you. Both are same formula. This capital C stands for diametral clearance and small c stands for radial clearance. So this value has come as 2.08, so 2.08. So I'm using the last two parts here. So radius value, my radius value is 25 mm. Radial clearance value for my given problem is 0.02, 20 micron, so 0.02 mm. Into coefficient of friction, we are going to determine here. So we get here coefficient of friction F is equal to this much, 0.001664. From this, you can find out power loss in friction also. So power loss in friction is equal to 2 pi ns FWR upon 10 raised to 6. So this equation I have given in the last lecture for journal bearing. This is the equation for journal bearing. So 2 pi ns value we have calculated in the previous slide, that is 24.167. F value right now calculated 0.001664. Then the load given in the problem is 10 kilonewton, that is 10,000. And radius of your journal, that is 25 mm, divided by 10 raised to 6. So this value, this multiplication divided by 10 raised to 6 comes out to be 0.0631 kilowatt. This is in kilowatt, so you will get this value in kilowatt here. Since this value is very small, so we have to write in watt. So if we multiply by 1000 here, so we get this watt value 63.1 watt. So power loss in this bearing is equal to 63.1 watt. Okay, so let's go to this next slide here. Now next slide, I am determining the Sommerfeld number so that I can determine the viscosity of the lubricant required here. So Sommerfeld number, we are again going to refer the table. So I am showing the table. At L by D equal to 1, epsilon equal to 0.6, Sommerfeld number is equal to 0.121. And L by D equal to 1, epsilon equal to 0.8, S is equal to 0.0446. Then what is the value at epsilon equal to 0.75, the S value? You can cross check whether this is correct or not from the table, which I have already presented to you. The table is here. Sommerfeld number is yes here. This is the fourth column here is Sommerfeld number. Our L by D ratio is 1 and 0.6 value. At 0.6 value, S is equal to 0.121 and 0.8 value, it is decreasing and becoming 0.0446. Okay, so this value, same value we are used here. So this same value we have used here. Same values we have used here, 0.121 and 0.0446. Now we are, by linear interpolation, we are calculating the S value corresponding to the eccentricity ratio of 0.74. So how we are calculating here? I am showing here. See, we are starting with 0.6. So start value is put here. So this value will come here. That is 0.121 will come here. Then we have next reference value is at 0.8 and the start reference value is 0.6. So this value in this calculation will come here. Okay, and this value again is this value here. Okay, so this value is put here. So we are starting with 0.6 and next reference value is 0.8. So on the denominator you should have 0.8 minus 0.6. We need to calculate at 0.75. So here we should have 0.75 minus 0.6. So finally you will get the value of Sommerfeld number corresponding to the eccentricity ratio 0.75 and L by D equal to 1. That value is equal to 0.0637. Again, you have to check whether this is correct or not. At 0.6, it is 0.121. This is 0.121 here. And at 0.8, this value is 0.00446. So it is decreasing. So this value is less than this value, but greater than this value. So your value should lie between these two values. That is the concept of linear interpolation. And we see that this value is greater than this value, that is 0.06. So it is greater than 0.04. So this is correct value. Okay. So once you cross check, then you can do the calculation now. Again, now we can write down the formula for Sommerfeld number here. Okay, so we can use here Sommerfeld number formula R by C bracket square mu NS upon P is equal to 0.0637 from the table value. Now, in this calculation, required a bearing pressure. Bearing pressure is equal to P upon W upon 2RL or W upon DL. So, radius of the journal here is 25. Load is 10,000. So, and length of the bearing is 50 mm. So, we get the bearing pressure is equal to 4 Newton per millimeter square here. Now, I am using this last part here. So, in this last part, if I put the values here, R is equal to 25, C is equal to 0.02 bracket square. Mu is unknown in this case. NS is already calculated in the first slide, 24.167. Upon P value currently calculated 4. This has to be equal to 0.0637. So from this we get mu is equal to 6.7477 10 is to minus 9 Newton second per millimeter square. This value is very, very small. So we have to convert into the right. So if you multiply by this value by 10 is to minus 9, 10 is to plus 9, so you will get this value of viscosity in terms of centipoise. So you require the viscosity of the lubricant here 6.7477 centipoise. Okay. So similarly, we can go to the next slide here now. Next, we are doing the calculation of flow variable. So again, we are referring the table L by D equal to 1 and epsilon equal to 0.6, and we are determining the flow variable component. I am showing so 0.6, 0.8, 0.6 this value is 4.33 and 0.8 it is decreasing and coming to 4.62. So then what is the value of 0.75? So that value I am showing here. Here you can see here. Now we are checking out the flow variable. Flow variable column is this column. I have written in previous session, I have told this is equal to capital Q upon RCNL. Okay. So it is very similar to that. So here they are using, instead of R, they are using D. So D is equal to 2R. Instead of small c, they are using capital C. So capital C is equal to 2C, 2 small c. So this 2 into 2 and this 4 will get cancelled out. And Q is Q, capital Q or small q, that is Q. N is same, L is same. So this is your Q upon RCNL. So this is your flow variable. This column is flow variable. So since you are looking for L by D equal to 1 and epsilon is equal to 0.6. So this column, we have 4.33 as a flow variable. And for 0.8 value, the flow variable is increasing and that is becoming as 4.62. So if we come back to the calculation again here, you can see this calculation here. So calculation again, you are doing this calculation here. Okay. So flow variable starting base value of 0.6. So we are calculating at 0.75. So base value here. So we are using this value here. You are using this value in the calculation here. Okay. Then we are using here always next reference value of 0.8, this value. So we are using this next reference value here. Okay. And this will be a starting reference value, that is this value. Okay. So once you put this value here 4.33, then this value here 4.62 minus 4.33 divided by reference values, next reference value minus initial reference value, the value required at the particular location. So we require the value at particular location minus the first reference value, that is from 0.6. So we get this value as 4.5475. Again, you have to check. As we increase the epsilon ratio here, FU value is increasing. So it should be greater than this value and this should be less than that. So it is coming in between. So my calculation is correct. So 4.5475 flow variable value for 0.75 eccentricity ratio is correct when it is L by D is equal to 1. So from this you can calculate the flow rate here. So flow variable you know, so that is equal to Q upon RC NSL. So this is the notation I am using, and this is the notation of PHG data book, but here you have to use diameter and here you have to use diametral clearance. Okay, so considering this fact, so we can put the value. So I use this and this part here. So Q upon R 25, C 0.02, NS 24.167, and L here is 50 mm. So you get this has to be equal to this. So from this you can calculate Q here, that is the total flow rate. So total flow rate here is 2747.48 millimeter cube per second. So that is equal to 2.74 liters per second. But it is asked in minutes. So you can multiply by this value by 60 and you can get this value in liters per minute. If required, you can convert into the mass flow rate also. This is the volume flow rate. So you can convert into the mass flow rate by multiplying the specific gravity here. So rho S into Q. So 0.86 into 2747.48 into 10 raised to minus 6. This value you will get in kg per second. Now, sometimes we require to determine the temperature. It is not asked in the problem, but sometimes we require to determine the temperature rise for the lubricant here, delta T. So if you assume the rho S equal to 0.86 and Cp value is equal to 1.76, so we have delta T is equal to 8.3 into P into CFE value upon FE. CFE value we have taken in the previous slide, it was 2.08, and FE value we have, that is 4.5475. So and P value we have calculated, that was 4. So we get the temperature rise here maybe 15.18 degrees Celsius. The lubricant, entering lubricant will increase its temperature by 15.18 degrees Celsius. Similarly, the remaining part of the problem can be calculated. So this is regarding the first problem we have completed. Whatever we have been asked: minimum oil film thickness, coefficient of friction, power loss, viscosity, total flow rate in liters per minute, and temperature rise of the lubricant. All these parameters are asked. It is asked for 10 to 12 marks. Similarly, we can go for the next problem. Next problem, problem number 2 is there. Now, this is quite difficult problem. Process is same, but initial preparation is required very much. The problem statement is here. We have full journal bearing having journal diameter now is 25 mm with unilateral tolerance of minus 0.03 mm. The bushing bore has a diameter of 25.03 mm with unilateral tolerance of 0.04 mm. L by D ratio for the bearing is 0.5. The radial load is 1.2 kN. Journal runs at 1100 RPM. If the average viscosity is 55 megapascal second or Newton second per millimeter square, determine the minimum film thickness here, the power loss in friction, the side flow of the lubricant, and assume the minimum clearance assembly here. So, assuming minimum clearance assembly, please determine about these 3 parameters. Now, this is the data problem statement given in the question paper. So, how to solve it? Here, you need to know the concept of limit switch tolerancing and the designation of assembly, that is a bush and bearing assembly. Normally, bush bearing assembly is a shaft basis assembly. Please remember, there are 2 methods used: hole based system and shaft based system. Since the cost of the bearing bushing is low compared to the shafting, so the shaft based system is mostly preferred for when you make an assembly of bush and shaft. So I am showing here shaft and bearing assembly with a tolerance deposition diagram. So it's a closed bracket here. It is a shaft based system. So what is given here? You can journal diameter is a 25 mm. So journal diameter is 25 with a unilateral tolerance of minus 0.03. So if I take this is a reference line, anything above it positive, anything below this will be negative. So for this shaft, they have given a tolerance value of minus 0.03. So the lower size of the shaft will be below this level by this amount, that is 0.03, that is 25 minus 0.03 will come as 24.97. So this is the value tolerance on journal of shaft. So what is the tolerance given? That is 0.03 mm, but it is in the negative direction. So minus 0.03 mm. So this is a tolerance deposition diagram of your shaft. This is a tolerance deposition diagram. The shaft diameter is proceeding bottom here. This is the minimum size of the shaft permitted, and this is the maximum size of the shaft permitted in the assembly here. Similarly, we are using bush having hole here. So what is the hole size of that bush? So they have told the bushing bore diameter. Bore diameter is 25.03. So the reference line here is at 25.03. So it is greater than 25. So it is coming here 25.03. Then the inlet, the tolerance on that. So inlet means it is one direction on particular direction. So inlet tolerance here is 0.04. So it is a plus here. If it is mentioned minus, so then it has to come down here. Since it is mentioned plus, so you have to go up 0.04. So your base size for hole was 25.03. So on that tolerance value of 0.04, it is plus, so it is added. So maximum size of the hole permitted is 25.07. So these two sizes are the hole sizes, and this is the tolerance on the hole. This is the tolerance on the bush bearing hole or bush bore. So this is the tolerance on bushing. So this is the tolerance deposition of bush. This is the tolerance deposition of shaft. And to have an assembly, of bush and shaft here, proper assembly, you require a minimum clearance. So they have to do the calculation with the minimum clearance actually. So there are two types of clearance here, minimum clearance and maximum clearance. So the formula for minimum clearance is the minimum size of the hole. Minimum size of the hole. This is the hole. Where the hole size may range from 25.03 to 25.07. Anything can be there. So it can be here, it can be here, it can be here, it can be here. The shaft size will be between this range. It will be here, it will be here, it will be here, or it will be here also. No shaft size below this will be permitted. No shaft size above this size will be permitted. Similarly, no shaft hole size below this and above this will be permitted. So your permitted values of shaft and holes are bush bore and shaft journal diameter are in bush holes are in this range and journal diameters are in this range. So what is the minimum clearance? Minimum clearance is the minimum size of the hole first. So minimum size of the hole minus maximum size of the shaft. Maximum size of the shaft, that is this. So that is nothing but 25.03 minus 25. 25.03 minus 25. So it is equal to 25.03 millimeter clearance. So this is the minimum clearance. So if they ask it, determine this for maximum clearance. So maximum clearance in this case will be maximum size of the hole minus minimum size of the shaft. That is this value. This to this value, that is 25.07 minus 24.07. That would be the maximum clearance. Suppose they would have asked, assume the average clearance value for the assembly and determine this. Then what you have to do? You have to determine minimum clearance. You have to determine maximum clearance. Then average clearance value will be minimum clearance plus maximum clearance divided by 2. So for similarly, you have to calculate the clearance value here, and here you get the clearance value. This clearance value is a diametral clearance value. Please remember, this is not a radial clearance value, otherwise you will make a mistake. So the above value is a diametral clearance. It is not a radial clearance. It is a diametral clearance. So with this, we can do the similar analysis what we have done for previous problem. Only thing, this is different. This diagram I have just drawn for your explanation purpose. If you draw in the examination, it is well and good. If you don't draw also, no problem, but you have to write this calculation properly. Okay? Sometimes you have to refer the tolerance deposition diagram or tolerance chart in the PhD data book. The PhD data book is a tolerance chart. In the separate chapter is there. So you have to limit speed tolerance chapter, you have to refer, and you have to do this calculation if the fit is designated here. Okay, let's go to the next slide now. You have been given here in this problem L by D is equal to 0.5. radial load is 1.2 kilonewton, that is 1200 Newton. And you have been given here radius of the journal. Radius of the journal is equal to diameter by 2. So diameter is 25, so divided by 2 is 12.5. Length of the bearing based on this formula, L by D is equal to 0.5. So D is equal to 25. So L is equal to now 12.5. So this 12.5 comes from this relation here. Then radial clearance, we have known the value in the previous slide. We have come to know it is a 0.03 mm, that is 30 micron, but it is diameter clearance. So we require radial clearance. So 30 micron divided by 2, so radial clearance. So that is coming as 0.015 millimeter. Then your speed in revolutions per second, 110 upon 60. So that is 18.33 revolutions per. Then you have been given viscosity here. So it has been given here 55 megapascal second. So if you write this value is in 55 into 10 to minus 9 Newton per millimeter square. It is in Newton per millimeter square per second. Now from this we can calculate now Sommerfeld number. Sommerfeld number S. So R you know, C you know, mu you know, NS you know. Only you don't know P. So you can do the calculation of P. P is equal to capital W upon 2 RL or capital W upon DL. So I can use this value here. So 1200 D is equal to 25 and L is equal to 12.5. So the bearing pressure here is 3.84. So using this value in this equation, you will get Sommerfeld number is equal to 0.1823. Now next slide, we are going to do the calculation, required calculation here. Minimum film thickness we are going to determine. Again, you have to refer pH here 7.36, L by D ratio 0.5. You will not have the Sommerfeld number, whatever we have calculated, the same Sommerfeld number may not be available in the PhD. So you have to refer different values there. So our reference value, see what is our reference value? 0.1823. So with this, if you go to your table, if you go to the table here, yeah. So we have again 360 degree, same table we are referring, dimensionless parameter for full journal bearing, it is mentioned there with a side flow. So again, but here we have L by D equal to 0.5. So L by D equal to 0.5. So this table we have to refer. Then we have been calculated here. We have calculated the Sommerfeld number. This is the column for Sommerfeld number. Our value is in the range from 0.18. So if you look for this column here, 0.18 is between 0.319 and 0.09. So your epsilon value will be in the range from 0.6 to 0.8. So you have to exactly determine epsilon value. Once you determine epsilon value, then you can determine H naught also. Okay. So to determine that, you have to use here linear interpolation ranging from this value to this value for corresponding Sommerfeld number. Epsilon number ranging from 0.6 to 0.8 and get the correct epsilon number. So if we go to the presentation here, we have taken these values in the next slide here. We have taken this value here. When S is equal to L by D is equal to 0.5, S is equal to 0.319. Epsilon value was 0.6. When L by D is equal to 0.5, S is equal to 0.923 from 7.36 page. Epsilon value was 0.8. In our calculation at this moment, we have L by D equal to 0.5 and S is equal to 0.1823. So what is the corresponding epsilon value? So to determine this corresponding epsilon value, we have done the calculation here, starting with the reference value of this value. This is the reference value. So we have started here with this reference value here. For this reference value, we have epsilon value is equal to 0.6. So this value is put here. Okay. Then next value is 0.8. So this value is put here. Then first reference value is this value. So this value is put here. Okay. And then divided by, we are starting with this, ending with this. So this value minus this value. मैंने उल्टा लिखा है actually. This has to be this value minus this value. So what happens here? This is positive and this is negative. So this will come as negative here. But again, this is negative. So negative will become positive here. And you will get the value added into this value here. And you will get the final value. So final value here is 0.72. I think I have done the wrong calculation. Yeah, it's correct. It has to be greater than 0.6, but less than 0.8. So the calculation is correct, but only while putting this value, I have put at the wrong places. ये value इधर आना चाहिए और ये value इधर आना चाहिए बस. Okay, so you got this value of epsilon for corresponding to the Sommerfeld number of 0.1823. Epsilon value is equal to 0.72. So from this is an epsilon eccentricity ratio. So complementary function of eccentricity ratio is minimum film thickness variable H0 by C is equal to 1 minus epsilon. So that is equal to 0.28. And then therefore minimum film thickness is equal to H0 into 0.28 into C. 0.28 into C. C value we have in the previous table, that is 0.015 millimeter. So you get this at 0.0042 millimeter. That is nothing but 4.2 micron. If you multiply by 1000, you will get this value as 4.2 micron. So minimum film thickness, oil film thickness here is 4.2 micron. Similarly, you can do the next calculation for the coefficient of friction variable here to determine the power loss in friction. We have L by D equal to 0.5. Epsilon, now epsilon values you have got here, so you can take again similar to the earlier. Epsilon is equal to 0.6. For this, we have CFE values 8.1 and 3.26. You can see here whether you are having correct, whether we have taken correct values or not. Here you can see here L by D is equal to 0.5 and epsilon value is equal to 0.6 and 0.8. The corresponding value of CFE is this column, that is this column, mu upon D upon C, that is F into D upon C or F into R upon C. So corresponding value for 0.6 it is 8.1, 0.8 it is 3.26. So using this value, we can do the calculation required at corresponding value of 0.72 here. So we are going to do the calculation for 0.72 here. Okay, so we require the value CFE value at 0.76. So for that we are doing the calculation with the help of, I'll use a pen here. So we are using this value here, start value. So start value you are taking here. This value is put here at the start base value here. Then next start value is taken here. So next start value is here. So it will be taken here. Next reference value. Then first reference value will be put here. Again this value will be put here. Then divided by next reference value minus first reference value. Okay. Into where you want to calculate here. With reference to what we are calculating with this reference to this value. So 0.72 minus 0.6. So when you put this value here 8.1, 3.26 minus 8.1, this will come as negative. Upon 0.8 minus 0.6, so this will be negative. Into 0.72 minus 0.6, this will be positive. So this entire product will be negative here. So whatever value here you have 8.1 minus some fraction or full value will come, that will be negative. So this will reduce the value at CFE value at 0.72. So the reduced value is now 5.196. But this value should be greater than 3.26. So your calculation then will be correct. So you can get this value and then you can do the calculation here. You can do this calculation here. And now this value I have got 5.196. So we have CFE is equal to, either you can use this formula from PHE or you can use this formula which I have given here, R by C into F into 5.196. I am using the latter part of this formula. So R is equal to 12.5, C is equal to 0.015 radial clearance into F is equal to 5.196. So coefficient of friction here we are having very low value here, 0.006235. Now using this value we can calculate power loss in friction. So 2 pi ns FWR upon 10⁶. 2 pi ns 18.33. F is equal to this 0.006235. W here 1.2 kilonewton, that is 1200, and radius here is 12.5 mm divided by 10⁶. So this comes as 0.0107 kilowatt. So this is nothing but 10.7 watt. So this way you can calculate power loss in friction. Similarly, the last parameter you can calculate here is for flow variable to determine the side flow. So we have L by D is equal to 0.5, epsilon is equal to 0.6 flow variable. I will not go to that problem again. So you know you have to refer. There is a flow variable column Q upon RCNL for problem or 4Q upon DCNL column. So from that we for 0.6 we have 4.85, 0.8 it is 5.41. So again you can do this calculation here. So after calculating this value will be greater than this value but less than this value. So we get that correct value of 5.186. So then we can write on 4 flow variable Q upon RCNSL or 4Q upon DCNSL. I am using this part and this part here. So we get Q is equal to. So if you do this calculation here, you will get Q is equal to 222.79 millimeter cube per second, which is equal to 0.22 liters per second. You can convert into liters per minute here, multiply by 60. Mass flow rate also, if required, you can use it here. Now you have been asked here side flow. In earlier problem, it is not asked the side flow, so you have to calculate side flow. So I am showing the calculation of side flow in the next slide here. So side flow, there is another. This is a slide flow. It's a copy paste error. L by D equal to 0.5, epsilon is equal to 0.6. The QS by Q, that is QS is your side flow, Q is your total flow. So this ratio is equal to 0.73 when 0.6. And when it is 0.8, this ratio, again, here it is QS by Q. Please make this correction here. It is QS by Q and here also QS by Q. It is equal to 0.874. Where it is in the column, I am showing that column also, so we can get that details properly here. So this column is here, QS by Q column for journal bearing here, QS by Q column, this column. Now if your L by D is greater than 1, QS by Q, there is no side flow. No lubricant will come out theoretically. So there is a zero flow in the QS by Q ratio is 0. When your L by D is equal to 1, the QS by Q values are small. You can see here these values are small. As your L by D ratio decreases, the QS by Q value increases. If your length of the bearing is small compared to the diameter of the journal here, then there is a more chances the fluid or lubricant will be lost in the axial direction. That QS is in the axial direction, so lubricant will be lost in the axial direction. So QS by Q ratio will increase as we increase the decrease the L by D ratio. You can see here these values are increasing, and for this L by D ratio equal to 0.25, they are further increasing. Our value is 0.5 and we have epsilon 0.6. The value is 0.73. Epsilon value 0.8. This value is 0.874. So that we are using in the calculation here. That we are using here in the calculation. Please make in your write up this correction. QS by here it is QS by Q and here it is also QS by Q. So we are want that value out at 0.72. So QS by Q at 0.72. So we take QS by Q at 0.6, QS by Q at 0.8 minus QS by Q at 0.6 upon 0.8 upon 0.6 into value where we required at 0.72 with a reference value 0.6. So when you put this value here, we get this value as 0.8164. Again comparison whether your value is correct or not. So your value you can check whether your value is correct or not by checking this value has to be great. Since it is increasing here, this value has to be greater than this and less than this. So it is correct. So we get here QS by Q is equal to 0.8164. In the previous slide, we have done the calculation of Q. So that is equal to 222.79 millimeter cube per second. So therefore, side flow here in this problem, side flow is 181.88 millimeter cube per second. That is 0.188 liters per second. That is equal to 10.91 liters per minute. If you multiply this value by 60, so we'll get in liters per minute. So this is the final answer for flow rate, side flow rate. So side flow rate means this is the loss of lubricant in the side direction. That is equal to 10.91 liters per minute. This much of lubricant will be lost. So you have to pump additionally this much of lubricant into the bearing to maintain their fluid film thickness. Otherwise, the fluid film thickness will not be maintained. Okay, so this is regarding the two problems we have seen from the examination. So I have completed my delivery. If you have any doubt in this presentation, so you can ask. You can unmute yourself and ask the doubt, or you can ask, put in the chat box. If you have any doubt, you can ask.